Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Encourage Mindset. My name is Ethan Vandehei, and I am so excited to be back today with another episode. Today, I have an amazing guest. I'll let him introduce himself, and he's going to be a killer guest today, talking about a variety of topics that seem to be very helpful for small business owners. Today's episode is presented by Infinity Exteriors, and Damien, the floor is yours. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hi, thank you so much, Ethan. I'm very excited to talk with you today. I'm a profitable growth coach helping small business owners achieve financial clarity and confidence in their business by fixing profit leaks, increasing revenue, and creating consistent cash flow.
Yeah, I really like that quick description there, the clarity piece, right? I think a lot of people want clarity in their life, in
Yeah.
their career, in all these different facets. So, talk to me a little bit about what clarity means to you and your purpose with what you do for small business owners.
Yeah, to me, I think my broad scope of what clarity means is doing the right things at the right times. And I think kind of creating clarity around what is the right thing to be doing and what is the right timing to be doing it. And so there's a lot of times where businesses they go through phases and business owners especially and they're moving uh, basically as fast as their clients are pulling them sometimes, and so they're very reactive, very responsive, and which I think is fantastic. And I think it's our ability as small business owners to be able to respond and react to what is happening is crucial to our initial growth. But then there becomes times where cash flow can be tight. Payroll is starting to create stresses as we're adding people, adding staff, adding vendors, adding costs to the business. And so understanding what they should be focused on at that next level is kind of where I start to help jump in, create that financial clarity. Hey, here are some things that didn't matter in the first season of your business, but matter now and are going to play a large key role in what the following seasons and their trajectory kind of look like.
That's awesome. So, Damien, where did you find the passion for helping people with their mission, streamlining their operations, optimizing their sales systems? Like, where did this passion come from?
Yeah, so Ethan, it's super interesting. When I was 20 years old, I was thrown into a family business running a branch all by myself. And so, actually, I was in business school up at Seattle Pacific, and and so I was thrown into it. And so there was this kind of understanding a difference between knowledge and experience that I had to grasp very quickly. And so, you can learn everything you want from business books, but reality is much different than that. And so, what I learned when I was scaling essentially a failing or at least a non-profitable $400,000 business over the following 8 years, I grew it to about 3.2 million, generating about 10% profit. And so during that time, it's like there were lessons, both life lessons and business lessons along the way that I was picking up and kind of adapting to be my own source of leadership. But the passion for helping small business owners is seeing A, how many business owners are in the market, and B, knowing the amount of people that want to do their clients a good job, that want to provide for their families and want to uh, really kind of achieve some of their goals, but simply don't know what steps to take to do that.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I think that's kind of where your clarity piece comes in when they don't know those steps. You're going to help provide them the reassurance, provide them that structure, provide them those guidelines. And most importantly, I think sometimes the way that I've always viewed learning and developing and growing as a person is you always have somebody there beside you, or you have a mentor, you have a coach, whatever it is. So that's kind of like your powerful piece as well, is you're just there to make sure things are in order. I think that's absolutely helpful for these small business owners. But talk to me a little bit about the quote behind you. It says, "In the end, everything is going to be okay. If it's not
Yes.
okay, it's not the end." What does that quote mean to you?
Yeah, I think one of the biggest drivers that have both led me to some success as an individual, but also some success as a business owner and business coach is the fact that our our destiny is in our own hands. And things are not always going to be as exactly as we intend, and especially in the beginning, whether it's a business owner, a business coach. Um, Heck, you could apply this to dating and marriage. I mean, so much of
Mhm.
business applies to our relationships as well. And I think the key is maintaining a positive outlook no matter what. And I know that a positive outlook is not, sometimes in our true calling, as far as it's not our foundation. However, when we can have a positive perspective, and I guess where I'm leading this to is perspective is everything. And so this quote is exactly a perspective that is uh, kind of something that we can all take. And no matter what we're going through in life, we can apply this. And it's like, if it's not okay, it's not the end. And it's like, I think we so many times apply uh, so much negativity, worst case scenarios, what if this happens to our lives, that there's not enough positivity. Or even if we use the title of encourage mindset, there's not enough of positive perspective in our lives that we are taking with us on a day-to-day basis, both in our personal lives as well as our professional.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think the more positivity there can be, the better there is. I also still think that there should be healthy debate. I
Oh,
think that creates um, a genuine interest of what's going on in the world, career,
yes.
whatever it is. I think that's what America and all these other people in America should be doing, is creating that healthy debate, as we're kind of seeing with all these live real events that have been happening the past few weeks. And I guess a question that I have for you is, when you are working with these small business owners, what's kind of the main thing that you see struggling? Is it more of a personal thing that alters their business, or is it more of they just aren't really there in a sense of the business side of things? They're lacking that expertise.
Yeah, great question. I think the number one thing that I see, well, let me actually clarify. Every single business owner is facing unique challenges. And, for some, it's cash flow. For others, it's employees. And so it's like, but every small business owner is faced with some sort of unique challenge. With that said, if I was to kind of generalize some of the challenges, or at least a challenge that it is, they they don't they don't know what they don't know, and they don't know how to see their business from a business perspective. They see it from their perspective. And if we
Mm,
jump into, one of the most famous books for entrepreneurship is the E-Myth Revisited. And one of the he talks about the three phases of an entrepreneur, and it's basically technician, manager to entrepreneur. And I think the idea is most, even if you're a business owner, you can still be seeing your business as the technician, whether you're a plumber, an HVAC provider, a calibrator, whatever it is that your business does. And I work with primarily service-based businesses, is they see their business as a technician, but not as a business owner. And so, just to bring up a live example, I was on a coaching call yesterday working with a founder who is able to see their business from their employees' perspective, because that's how they grew the business, as providing the service. The challenge is and where I was challenging them, and as you're talking about debating, the word challenging, I love challenging ideas, right? Like, I love, is this the best idea? And one of the biggest things that when I was running a business, the biggest thing, the role that I played was not to be right, but to help us get it right. I was a
Mm,
facilitator, and my goal was to get us to the best solution, not to be the best solution. And I think that's one challenge as we lead businesses. But to bring it back to the story, is what they were able to do was, where I challenged them is, we need to see your business just from a financial aspect. Is this profitable? If not, why not? If where do we need to make the changes? And they were able to step outside of their technician role, take off that hat, and start putting on a CFO hat, and start looking at their business just the way that I see it from an outsider, just by viewing some specific numbers within their business. And it's like, and that type, to tie this all back into perspective, is they they need to be able to see their business from a financial perspective, because if it's not a profitable business, you won't stay in business. If it doesn't provide cash flow, you can't make payroll, right? These are the things. And so what so often business owners are stuck in is, they're so busy providing for their people, providing for their clients, and doing these things. But in reality, if they're not able to step in and see it from a financial perspective, then what ends up happening is the business ends up closing, and their clients lose a great provider, and their employees lose the safety and security of a business. And so we've got to be teaching kind of, I always like to say, a both and approach. We need to be seeing it from a quality delivery aspect, yes, 100%, while at the same time, we also need to be seeing it from a financial and long-term stability aspect as well.
yeah, I liked how your point of the challenge part. That's a key part, I think, because you're trying to go in there and you're trying to question and you're trying to, like you said, kind of challenge them to think differently and be differently. And that's important to people in an entrepreneurship type role, but also your life role. So how Damien, does what you do kind of inspire into who you are as a person, a husband, dad,
Yeah.
friend, family, son? Like it has to fall into that categories as well, I would imagine.
Yeah, I would actually say it's reverse engineered from the other perspective. It's who I am that is turned into what I do, right? And
Ooh,
so
okay.
I am a strict, I don't want to say, I don't want to come across as like some productivity guru, or, I'm not going to claim any of that. However, the way I run my life is the way I run my business and the way that I coach. And so to me, it is having a positive perspective, having what do I need to do today to achieve X, and reverse engineering that. And so I'll kind of give you an example of what this looks like in my personal life. To me, a great day starts the night before. And so everything the night before is, what am I going to accomplish tomorrow to make tomorrow great? And then every evening, I not only review my challenges that I had kind of tasked myself with, but I also set tomorrow's goals. And so every single week, I have my written notebook. I'm a very tangible, I love, or sorry, yeah, but pen and notebook. And so every week I set 3 priorities, and every day I set 3 tasks that help me accomplish those 3 priorities. And to me, Friday's not over until those 3 weekly priorities are accomplished. And so there's that. And then how it even bleeds into my marriage. My wife and I have now been married for a year and a half, so not too long, but we've already had 2 annual planning sessions where we get away for a weekend, and both times have been in the exact same place. We grab our laptops and we basically say, where do we want to be in 10 years? And we reverse engineer everything that we need to do back from that. And we set deadlines. But Ethan, one of the things that I've learned this year is because you can achieve goals quicker than you can, it's actually more important to layer goals versus create timelines for goals. And what I mean by that is when we achieve this first goal number 1, it's important to have goal number 2 ready. And I think,
Ooh.
and so what happens is instead of saving X amount of money by such and such, it's just save X amount of money. Our hard deadlines may still be there, but if we achieve it sooner, you need to have goal number 2 ready to rock, right? And so it's layering of goals that we're more fans of versus saying, hey, we're just going to achieve this one goal. And the reason is because when you are goal focused and when you are achievement focused, then you actually achieve it sooner than your deadline, right? And so we would say that we are not procrastinators with our goals. We are, let's get our goals accomplished as quick as possible so that we can start achieving goal number 2 as quick as possible. And so we, instead of just having, I would say, our next 5 years of goals set out, we have our next 5 goals set out, right? And so it's a different mindset when you're focused on achievement versus just focused on achieving something by a deadline. And so the same thing I do in business with my clients is, hey, let's grow 25%, by the next year. We still work like that, but we also are saying, but when we achieve that mid-year, what are we going to focus on next? Because we don't want to take our foot off the gas. We don't want to lose that momentum. We want to roll it into our next goal.
I like that a lot. So, did you come up with that, or is that something you've discovered? Like,
Yeah, it's just something along the way that it's like, holy macaroni, we've accomplished our goals sooner than we thought. Now what do we do? Right.
Mhm.
And that's where it kind of happened, Ethan, is we had set a savings goal by April 1st, which was a year from when we had originally set. Well, guess what? We accomplished it by December 31st. Right. And so then it's like, well, now what do we do? Right.
Mhm.
And so then it's like we just started working on goal number 2. And so that's what changed this year in our goal planning meeting. We call it a Foglio family meeting, basically. And it's a 10-year planning meeting. And now one of the most interesting things is we don't create, now we're not a 10-year plan. Now it's a 9-year plan. And next April, it'll be an 8-year plan. And so we are trying to achieve specific goals on a specific date. We're trying to achieve them in layers. And part of that, and I'll roll this into business, part of that is me growing a coaching business, right? And the only way I can grow a coaching business is if I'm helping entrepreneurs grow their business. Because if I'm not, then I'm not going to be successful as a business coach. And so I'm a huge proponent of my delivery, and my coaching is more important than my ability to get to sell a specific service and or a specific product to any one person. That initial sale is only as good as it is my delivery and their desire and or ability to want to afford coaching, and B, feel that it's so valuable to not stop.
Yeah, I think most people these days, especially like in my industry, in the way like we do our marketing for Infinity Exteriors, is everything is all about experience. That it's same thing when I started in the hospitality space. People that go out to eat, they're going out to eat for the experience of going out to eat, and that's how it needs to be treated. Not everybody can go spend $100 every Friday and Saturday night to go out to
Yeah.
eat. That's just not how it is. You have to treat
Yeah.
those people with genuine care. And when you do that in a business, you're going to flourish and you're going to see success. Is there anything else, Damien, that you want to share on the Encourage Mindset podcast today that we didn't get to?
You know, here's what I'll say. I think, life is not so much what happens to us, obviously, but how we respond. And I think one of the things, as both a leader in a business, but also now a coach for many entrepreneurs, I think the reality of what we want to improve and what our goals are always starts with the person in the mirror. And I think very often we are quick to point fingers, to talk about missed opportunities, to kind of imply that we aren't as good as, or we aren't where we should be based upon what has happened to us. And in reality, there is some aspect of truth to that, but in reality, our opportunities and our ability to make good decisions is all within our control. And it all starts with how we perceive ourselves, how we love those around us, and how we impact those within our business, whether it's vendors, whether it's clients, and those types of things. And so when we jump back to the word you kind of clicked on was challenge. I'm a challenger, and I want my wife to want to be a better wife, and I want my children to be better friends, and I want my friends to have goals, and I want to help them achieve that. And so to me, everything starts with the person in the mirror for me, but then in reality, it's like I want to be the friend that helps my friends be better men, better business owners, better kind of achieving some of their goals and
Yeah,
helping them do that. So
totally. Yeah. Well, thank you so much for sharing your wealth of knowledge and expertise with us. For those that are interested in Damien's services, please view the links in the descriptions and feel free to connect with Damien on LinkedIn. He's a certainly wise guy that has a wealth of experience and knowledge of helping businesses grow and especially entrepreneurs succeed. And thank you so much for spending your time with us today, Damien, and sharing your mindset, some motivations. And I think the coolest thing I got to learn today is about how we can layer our goals.
yeah, no, thank you so much, Ethan. This has been fantastic.